It's your girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we'll be talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 6. And this one started off with Heather calling Angie and checking in and seeing how things were going with her and Mary and how she felt after the event. And Angie tells her, like, hey, I spoke to Mary to come over because that's what she's really concerned about. She's done with Lisa. She don't care about none of that. Um, she tells Angie, like, oh, I'm really sad Lisa did leave early because I didn't get to, she wasn't there for the announcement of the trip. They're going to go to Kanawan. It's an island in the middle of, I don't even know. I thought I was good at geography, but she named that island and my face was like, what? But anyways, um, it sounds like it's going to be fun because it's a super yacht. I've never been on a super yacht. So if any of you guys out there have a super yacht and you want me on it and you promise you won't like take me out before the end of it, I would gladly go because it sounds like a good time. Um yeah, invite me. But yeah, then we see Bronwyn going to ice cream with her husband. She tells him, like, when she goes, she orders a sundae and she's like, oh, I hate when you take the cherry, like I always save it to the end, the cherry is my favorite part. She's going on and on about that, and literally 2 seconds after she says that, that man takes the cherry off the top and eats it. And like, if you hate your wife, just say that. Like, why do these people choose to be with people that they don't like and they don't respect? Like, I know it seems so silly because it's just like a cherry and it's food and it's this, but it's like she literally said that it bothers her. And after she went through the rigmarole of explaining how it bothers her and she doesn't like it, he literally did it. And you could just see her break a little bit. And I just felt so bad for Bronwyn because it's like, girl, you said he's better and this and that, but like that man don't respect you. At the very least, he does not respect you. I don't know what else he does, but he don't respect you. Then she tells him the details of like everything that happened, and she was like, but hey, like you should be happy I wasn't involved with all of the drama that went down. And Todd was basically like, he doesn't care anything about these women. Like I do not care like what they got going on, what your involvement in is it, what your involvement in it is, like he don't care. And I can kind of get his point. Like, as a man, whatever beef you have with those girls, that's the beef you have with those girls. Like, that's not my business. And I feel like he's just very much like, girl, if you want to go over there and get chewed out and fight with those women all day, like, I disagree, but that's your business. So I kind of am like, okay. I side with him on that point because he's not a young man. He is not like Seth Marks, who's like, he like, you could tell he liked to be a little messy and in the tea. He's not like that. He's not like Peter from Atlanta. Different husbands like messiness. He's not one of them. Then she tells him about the psychic. And she was like, oh, the psychic talked about my mom and her illness. And he was like, was that his medical opinion? Again, I might have spit out my drink a little bit laughing because it's like he was so serious and Bronwyn was hurt. I'm like, girl, stop talking to this man because low key, I don't know how their relationship started. I have no idea. But Todd does not seem very compassionate. And Bronwyn seems overly passionate about everything she does and all she experiences. And when you're like that, it's really demoralizing to deal with someone who's constantly like just shutting down the things that you like. So I don't know how she deals, but she has been dealing, and whatever she wants to deal with, you go, girl. Um, And then she says, like, she doesn't believe that Todd is just as accepting of her as she is of him. And she starts to break down. And that's when Todd finally apologizes for pretty much all the mess that he's been doing since they sat down for ice cream. And it's like, does he have to see you tear up to realize that he's doing wrong, that's a red flag for me. Huge red flag for me personally. But again, it's not my marriage, not my business. Um, then we see Lisa. She's packing for the yacht trip. She's talking to John, and she tells him about what the psychic said about them and how they're not on the same wavelength. And she says that she, like, they're having communication issues, and she talks about how she, like, has to manage the house, and then she has to manage her work because she does work. And John was like, yeah, we aren't really on the same page. And now I have been thinking this for a couple of seasons now. Again, it's not my marriage, not my business. We only get little snippets, cut, edited snippets of their life. But I feel like John likes Lisa because John was not cool growing up. He got the money that he needed to get the hot girl, and Lisa was the hot girl. And so now that he has her, he may not like her, but he likes having her. And that's what it feels like. Again, I don't know. So this is just an opinion of watching edited scenes and conversations and whatever, but that's how it feels to me as a viewer. He likes having her around. He loves people knowing that his wife is Lisa Barlow. Like, she's a hot girl, she's a cool girl. But her actual personality, who she is, it doesn't come off to me that he really cares for that. And I think, like, he even said something at the end, like, because she was talking about how, like, they're off or something. And he was like, I think that's because in your head, he's like, you're in your head. In your head, you already think you're right, or something like that. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, interesting. But yeah, that was very strange to me. But again, I hope all these people work it out. Y'all already married, y'all got kids, figure it out. Um, but it does seem to me that Lisa is the problem in every situation she's in because she always thinks she's right. And I'm not saying this to say that people haven't wronged her, but she doesn't ever think she's wrong. Yes, people have wronged you. And in those instances, you're correct. But I don't think there's an instance in which Angie has thought she was wrong, except for when she got on camera saying what she said about Meredith. That's the one. Um, then we see Mary going over to Angie's house, and Angie's comes in like, "Oh, I got you this, I got you that," offering her all this stuff. And, you know, Mary is pretty much, being a little off, a little cold to Angie. And she was like, she starts telling Angie, like, you're getting too angry. Like, I don't like that, And she's saying, like, you're supposed to be my sister, but here you are lashing out at me. And now, this whole conversation, they have a conversation, they're going back and forth. You know, Mary talks about how she doesn't really get close to people because she's been dogged before by people that she was close to. So she has a really hard time getting close to people. So when she gets close to people, she loves them. She cares about them. She worries about them. And Mary's actually getting really emotional, not only in person, but in her confessional about how deeply she cares for the people that she does care about. And while I will say, I appreciate being able to see this softer side of Mary, I will also say it's a little, just a tad off putting to see that to be friends with Mary requires people to walk on eggshells. Like, I feel like I can't be authentically me because it's going to be like, well, will this piss Mary off? Oh, am I going to make Mary mad? Oh, is this going to, and it's a little off putting to me. But, one thing that she ends up talking about is she starts talking about how, like, Angie made fun of her fart. I guess she admitted that she was passing gas or something, and Angie kept on dragging it and dragging it. And I do agree there are times, because as someone who has done this too and didn't realize that, like, talking to my friend, like, hey, I keep harping on this joke, and they're like, okay, it's dead, it's done. I don't want to deal with that or hear about it. Sometimes you don't realize, like, you're still laughing, people are still laughing, but the person you're making fun of is no longer laughing. And honestly, again, I have done this, so I know it's not the correct thing, and that's why I can see it when Mary is talking about it, once the person who you are making fun of is no longer laughing, give it a rest. They're done. It's over. And anything more than that is now getting into offensive territory. So I get it. Um, but yeah, I just think that she needs to work on kind of this godfather position she takes where it's like, oh, you got to kiss the ring of Mary, like, because I don't like everybody and I don't get along with everybody. So everybody should be bending the knee to make sure I'm satisfied or okay. I don't like that kind of energy, but I do appreciate that she was more vulnerable, more honest. And I appreciate her and Angie's friendship. And so that's the thing that I will say about Angie. I don't know her beef with Lisa. I mean, I do know her beef with Lisa. I've seen it, the problem. But I'm saying, like, even if Angie is the problem, like she was in this situation, she had no problem immediately apologizing to Mary and trying to reconcile, meaning she understands when she does wrong and is willing to admit that, which is not what we see so much from Lisa. And even not just Lisa, other housewives. People don't, they're not so ready to apologize in which the way Angie did, which was seemed very genuine. So then we see Heather. Heather meets up with Lisa to shop. And Lisa's like, "Oh, can I bring glam on the super yacht?" Girl, no. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you sound crazy. Um, and Lisa starts like, "Oh, well, I also want to, have a say on the guest list and this and that." Lisa basically starts going off about how Angie is a mean B word and that, and Heather's like, "You're one too." Now, I feel like this whole conversation in this store, Heather actually, for once, I feel, is really trying to hold Lisa accountable. Like, and the thing is, and the one thing I will say is she never negated anything Lisa said. She just was basically saying, you are not innocent in this situation. This is a situation in which two people were wronging each other. However, you're looking at it from your perspective and just saying, like, oh, this person wronged me. And Heather is like, no, both of you have misbehaved. And it seems like when you misbehave, you don't see it, but you can only see when other people have wronged you. And, Lisa is saying that no one defends her and this and that. And Heather's like, you're pretty indefensible because you never take any accountability. And I agree, because it's like, well, even if I want to defend you, the moment I do, you'll further dig your heels into that you did nothing wrong. And that becomes a tough person to defend, because it's like, I'm not saying that you're 100% wrong, but once I say that, you're like, see, I'm not wrong. And it's now went from it's 50-50 to I'm 100% right, that person is 100% wrong. And I think that's where Lisa becomes indefensible. And the fact that she was getting so frustrated, I was like, girl, like, relax. And so then at the end, when they're finished shopping and whatever, what have you, Lisa pulls out a wad of cash to pay for her items. That's suspicious. Baby, what happened to all them credit cards? You ain't got them credit cards you was talking about in your name? Why you want to pay in cash? That's weird. I don't know. They didn't say nothing about it, but it was weird. Then we see Brittany. She's gonna go to coffee with her daughter. When she walks up and her daughter walks up, her daughter's taller than her. So cute. She's like, "Oh, can I have a hug?" That was weird. But I guess because they're estranged. But it seemed weird. It just didn't even seem genuine. It didn't seem like she wanted the hug. Like, it was just weird. I think the whole entire conversation between her and her daughter was weird to me. Um the daughter, tells the story about her, you know, the daughter tells a story about how her mom was very present. She was there. Everything was all good. Then she divorced their dad and she was still good. But when she met a new man and got married, she switched up. She completely became a different person. She wasn't there for them. She kept on putting that man ahead of those kids to the point where the kids went to go live with their father. Do you know how bad? Sorry, y'all. Do you know how bad of a mother you have to be for your daughters to wake up and be like, oh, we can't stay here. We got to go live with dad? Like, you are that bad. Brittany, get a grip. Like, that's embarrassing to me. And it's crazy because Brittany's like, oh, I feel so bad because I don't know why I did that. You know exactly why you did that. And quiet as kept, because let's not put this all on Brittany. She didn't because of the church. When you feel like your worth is tied to a man and you lose the man, and the church is probably like, hey, what are you doing, single mother? You're an abomination. You're going to lean into what you think is going to get you back right with the church. And that's the man. It's not them kids. Sorry to them kids, but you're going to do what you think you got to do. And what she had to do was find a man and keep one. And when she couldn't keep that next one, now it's Jared. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but she want to keep one. So I think that, the conversation didn't sound genuine on Brittany's part. I do think that the daughter was really frustrated. I could kind of feel her frustration. But I'm glad the daughter was honest and she didn't let the cameras try to sugarcoat what the mama did. And she was like, no, you were not good. Are you going to try and do better? And from what it sounds like, Brittany has no intention of trying to do better. That conversation was just so she can get more screen time. That's what it seemed like to me. She seemed very disingenuous. She really seemed like she didn't care. I don't know if maybe that's just how she talks, but it just lacked a lot of emotion for me. But I can't speak to Brittany because she only been on 2 seasons now, or a season and a couple of episodes. So I don't know. Um, then Heather goes and meets up with Meredith. She tells her it's been a rough 24 hours. Meredith chipped her tooth, bruised her ankle, fell in the tub. Like, it was, girl, lay down. I mean, we might know why all of these things are happening since people are claiming there are a lot of allegations out there around Meredith and how she relaxes. I hope that's not the reasoning why any of these injuries happen, but rumors are rumors. Rumors. So Heather tells Mare the story of the outing with Lisa, and Mare is basically like, Lisa apologized, so I believe her. I'm sorry. And Angie has lied about me in the past, and I just don't believe her. So I'm on basically Team Lisa. And she doesn't have a great track record with Angie. So she's going to trust her friend, and she's not going to trust the person that has wronged her in the past. But then it's like, Lisa's also wronged you. So I don't know. But she said that because from that situation, they talked and rectified and did everything they needed to do. She's good. And Heather is shocked because Heather was like, girl, you literally are always mad about everything people do, even if it's speculation. But all of a sudden, she's getting a pass. Like, what's going on? Um, and I think that Heather is trying to get a small group of people to basically turn on Lisa. Like, I don't think she's ever forgiven Lisa for what she's done. She works with Lisa. Lisa's top dog right now. She's on her side. She wants to keep peace. But if she can kind of maneuver herself to the top of another food chain that takes down Lisa, I think Heather is okay with that. That's what I believe. I don't know for sure, but that's kind of how it feels to me. That's what it feels like with all this, like, going back and forth, talking to this person, talking to that person, trying to gauge. That's how it feels. And I feel like Heather, what I will say, I do appreciate is she's keeping the storyline alive. Like, she is doing the background work to make sure that the storyline, the stories are being upheld. Because without her being a little bit messy, I don't know if we would have these storylines right now. Um, then Mary goes over to Whitney's place, and Angie is there. and they're basically calling out Mary for not filling out her want sheet or whatever, like the sheet that they're supposed to fill out to say what they want on the yacht. And Mary's like, oh, I don't know, just 2003 Dom Perignon. Like, girl, you have been asking for that for like 3 seasons now, which we love a consistent girly. Now I gotta try it. I feel like it's probably a really expensive bottle, but I gotta Google to see how much it really costs. Probably like maybe like 1,000, maybe 2,000, maybe not. Maybe it can be cheaper than that, like 500, maybe 200. But I want to taste it because Mary is very like this specific year of this champagne, so I'm kind of interested. Um, and then while they're talking, Angie's like, oh, do you want coffee or do you want tea? And she's like, oh, I always do tea. And Angie's like, speaking of tea, have you heard the tea on Bronwyn? Let me say this because, well, let me say the tea first, and then I'm going to get to the next point. So she brings up the tea, and basically they're saying Bronwyn has a history of identity theft and fraud and allegations of all this stuff, and the ladies are shocked and whatever. However, these allegations are like from 2009, 2010, 12. We are talking more than 10 years ago. I don't know if that's tea. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little stale for me. It's a little stale. It's a little stale. More than 10 years ago for an issue, it don't seem too tea like to me. Like, I don't like, if you want to say you got tea, tell me what happened last week. Eddie and Wendy was arrested, girl, for fraud, insurance fraud. That's tea. That's hot. It's piping. I was arrested for identity fraud 10 plus years ago, and the case was dismissed or closed or whatever. I don't know if that's tea that's hot. That's cold tea. That's stale tea. That's tea you forgot about, came back the next day, took a sip and was like, "Oh, I forgot this." That's the tea. That's not real tea. Like, what? So then the scene moves over to Bronwyn talking to her man, and she's talking about they're like meeting up for dinner, and so she's talking about the headlines and the rumors, and she was like, everything happened years ago, I was cleared from all of it. And she was like, and she talks about in her confessional how the information was sealed anyway, so she can't even talk about it. So I'm like, and she also is questioning, how did this information of a sealed record get out? Hmm. So she is hypothesizing that maybe Lisa and all her digging that she does, even though they said they was cool, went digging and then released the information that she found. And Bronwyn's worried about that, but she's also worried about how this can affect her husband because he works in finance and this and that. She doesn't want any of that stink to get on him. And I'm like, girl, us that shouldn't even matter. I'm not, again, I don't know. I don't work in this industry. I don't know what he does. But I'm like, this is weird that she would be so worried. But I get it. Maybe that's how it works. But for her to immediately think Lisa, that's not good. Because that means they're gonna beef again. So now she's talking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go on the yacht and this and that. And Todd was like, girl, you shouldn't. You should not go hang out with that girl. If you think that's something that she would do, why would you want to go be in a space with her where you can't avoid her? Because you know what it means to be on a yacht? You're stuck with the person. There's nothing you could do. And he was like, honestly, if Lisa was on fire, I wouldn't even piss on her. And low key, despite thinking that Todd does not respect Bronwyn, I do stand the fact that he's like, I should be the only person hurting you, not anybody else. All these other women, they can't hurt you. Are you crazy? You gotta you gotta stay away from them. But it's just crazy to me because it's like, I kind of agree, girl. If you don't like her, y'all always fighting. Stop talking to that girl. But at the same time, Bronwyn has a history of wanting to be loved, accepted, needed by someone who she views as important or above her. And because Lisa is someone she views in that light, she's always going to want that from her. So, based on her history, how she was raised, it makes sense, her behavior. Um, But her man's like, girl, I don't think you should go, but you're grown. You can make whatever decision you want, but I don't think you should go. And I kind of agree with him. I mean, if you've never been on a yacht before, then sorry, boo, I'm going on that yacht. But if you have been on a yacht before, girl, stop. Just, let it go. But what do you guys think? Do you think she should go? Should she not go? How do you feel about Lisa and Meredith? Do you think Meredith is being weird because Meredith should actually not change on Lisa, but like, girl, you should not trust her? Where are you guys at? Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let me know what you guys are thinking. I will see you guys next time. Bye.